Hello everyone, this is Hans Inoue at Team Turquoise. I will take first part of this presentation. The purpose of this presentation is to talk about the new QR code solution for Turquoise University, which is established at Georgia this month. First, I would like to talk about the QR code as introduction. It's first developed in Japan for the automotive industry to track progress, and designed to allow high-speed scanning and a greater storage capacity than traditional UPC barcodes. This QR code began to be used more broadly in early to mid-2000s. It's now used for accessing URLs, making purchases, accessing accounts, giving more information about a given topic, etc., and can be made very easily and pressed virtually anywhere. Now I would like to hand over to Rayma for explaining why we choose QR code.
So why QR codes? So as we know, smartphones and technology are very popular when it comes to our college students. So here at Turquoise University, we decided to create an app and a QR code that students can use on a day-to-day basis. So with the QR code, students are able to actually access student accounts, as far as paying bills and keeping track of their accounts. They're able to make bookstore purchases such as books and supplies. They're also able to have building access such as the fitness center, housing, or any other student-related building that's on campus. Now, students who live in housing are able to use this QR code to swipe themselves into the actual room and also into any housing building that they live on campus. They're also able to purchase tickets and passes to different school events. They're able to access themselves into classrooms for class attendance, submit assignments, and also they're able to use it for dining hall access. So with the code, students will have the app that will be on the student's smartphone. So once the student logs into the app one time, they're in for good. So with this code is being used to make technology more beneficial for students on campus and also make it easier for students to keep up with things that's going on. So now, Jonathan can discuss with us what are the advantages of students using this QR code.
All right, thank you for sharing that, Lamar. Continuing our discussion about why quick response codes or QR codes are important, I'd like to answer the question, what are the advantages over current identification methods? Well, first, the technology offers greater security. There's the inherent customizable degree of security on most smartphones, as well as the additional security offered by the app, which can even be paired with fingerprint scans in order to access certain accounts and information repositories. Second, it's more cost-effective. QR completely eliminates the need for keys, ID cards, and card readers. And perhaps most importantly to students and faculty, convenience. Smartphones are now an intrinsic part of the modern university, and with simply the tap of a touchscreen, relevant accounts can be accessed and pertinent information can be shared. Now, from a technology comparison standpoint, looking at this chart highlights some of the advantages QR clearly has over traditional barcode scanners. In terms of security, you can see that student ID cards can be used by anyone that illicitly obtains them, much like a stolen credit card, whereas the QR code app itself utilizes the smartphone's built-in user security, and additional security is added within the app. With regard to cost effectiveness, you can see that barcode scanners would be more expensive as the university must invest in card makers and create a card for every student, as well as have card readers in all easily accessed locations. The QR app, on the other hand, would be downloaded on student phones at no cost to the university. Card readers are not needed as QR codes can be scanned from devices already owned by the university, making this the less costly alternative. Finally, with respect to convenience, the chart shows that students have to keep up with their ID cards at all times and must access the internet to check status and accounts. Whereas the QR app, as we mentioned before, allows students to easily access their accounts via their own personal smartphone. Now, these are all great benefits, but as we are all aware, no technology adoption is perfect. So Alexis is going to walk us through some potential problems that would need to be addressed when utilizing QR technology.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of the potential problems that could be faced by the app and the codes, and then Simon will tell you about some of the potential solutions to those problems. The first and probably one of the biggest problems that would be faced by using this app and these QR codes for so many things is that it would need to be encrypted to prevent fraud. Obviously, identity theft is a huge issue, so there would need to be lots of really good security to cover the fraud potential. Another one would be that you would need to have code scanning machines in any area that's not monitored by a person. So, obviously stores and such will be monitored by an actual person using some sort of device to scan the codes, but for things like accessing buildings, you wouldn't want to pay a person to be in that location at all times. So you'd have to buy some sort of machine that can scan those codes in those areas. Just the nature of using an app, it would need some way of being monitored and maintained. Just technology updates and any new additions would need to be updated as it's used. Another potential problem is that not all students have a smartphone, or their smartphone batteries are going to die. So there needs to be some sort of other option for those scenarios. And then the last problem is that just the transition to this new system would require some education and training on the part of all users, be that students, faculty, employees, etc. So now here's Simon to talk about some of those solutions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Simon, and now we're going to be looking at the potential solutions to those possible problems we might encounter. Now, keeping in mind that confirming a student's identity before granting them access to facilities in and out of the school is very important for security, we're going to look at 5 potential solutions to those problems. First, the use of fingerprint pairing for greater security and fraud prevention. As we know, no two fingerprints are alike. This is by far the highest and the most secure measure we can implement as far as identity protection and fraud prevention. Think about it. We can prevent a stranger who has stolen a student's ID card or phone with the QR code in it from accessing school premises or accessing the student's personal information without their permission. In the case of exam fraud, we can have the technology available at the testing sites where students will be required to verify identity more accurately to prevent another person from writing the exam for that student. Now, as far as the cost of obtaining new equipment and cost of training personnel and how to use this tool is concerned, here's how we're going to recoup the initial cost. Now, by having the cost of this technology embedded in the tuition demanded by the school over a period of time, this will allow us to recoup the funds initially invested in this technology over time. Think about it. Knowing that parents are always concerned about your children and safety of their well-being, seeing the security value that the university would bring compared to other institutions would be worth that additional investment every year. Technology classes can definitely be held to allow students in our IT and information systems department sink their teeth into this understanding the IT tool like the QR code and even provide valuable, innovative feedback for the university as well as self-development for each student. Now, the next step is really self-explanatory. For students who, for some reason in this day and age, do not possess smartphones or devices that support this technology, the school will have the option for the student to have an ID card with the QR technology embedded in it. Lastly, this institution is already equipped with multiple charging ports, but if needed, additional ports will be provided to allow for more availability when needed by our students. In conclusion, we now know that we are prepared for whatever challenges we might face during this transition in technology. And finally, I'd like to introduce Billy, who will paint a clear picture for our future with this technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. So, what does the future look like with this technology? I think this is a good long-term investment. I think QR codes, the ability to generate and read QR codes, will be useful for the foreseeable future. It's relatively inexpensive. It's just a black and white pattern that you read, that your phone reads visually. So it's beautifully simple. There's nothing particularly complicated about it. The phone is reading it the way we read words. and generating it likewise the same way we write words. So it's not like upkeep is expensive and difficult. So the simplicity of it, along with the usefulness of it, all the things that you can do with this kind of technology, I think will enable us to use it cost effectively for a very long time. So once we have the platform implemented, as described previously in the presentation, it will be no big thing to just add capabilities here and there as we're able to. So as systems across the university become more integrated, then they can be more widely accessed through the app, for example, or use the app to access more areas. In addition to the systems in the university being improved and integrated together, the app can be used for more things. You have the platform, you have the ability to read the codes. Well, the codes that you can generate, we can come up with more and more uses for them, more and more things that we can access or keep track of, or that the student can get involved in, or the faculty or staff are able to use it for more things. But we can also add other technologies on top of it, or to complement it. So like finding use for GPS. Our phones have GPS built in it. Connect that to the app. The app knows where you are on campus, or if you're off campus or whatever, and it can, like, for example, let's say you're walking towards the library and you need access to the library, and generally you use the QR code on your phone to gain access rather than swiping your card. Now, if you have GPS connected, just as an example, your phone can automatically be ready once you get to the library to scan it, so you don't have to go through the menu to get to the QR code to scan or whatever, just as an example. There's more technologies that we can integrate in with the platform, like voice or face recognition, even artificial intelligence as that comes along. But primarily what we need to think of, what we can actually see going forward, is we know that technology will improve, it will become better, it will become easier to use, it will become easier to develop. But the cost to develop and maintain the technology isn't going to get substantially higher. So once we have it developed and implemented, then just adding little things here and there, little updates, is a small cost with potentially large impact, large improvement. So where it'll be cost effective in the short term, as mentioned earlier, it will remain cost effective going forward. One issue that we will have to deal with going forward is, as technology gets more connected, information technology security issues arise. But as information security issues arise and technology gets better, information security will get better. So I think going forward, the payoff will continue to grow. I don't foresee a time when having the technology will become more of a liability than an asset to us. Meanwhile, the cost will remain relatively low compared to the alternatives.